Hefty tariffs on Canadian and Mexican imports recently shook the U.S. stock market, causing the Dow to plummet 649 points, the S&P 500 to fall 1.75%, and the Nasdaq to drop 2.6%.
No room left for Mexico or for Canada. No, the tariffs, they're all set. They go into effect tomorrow.
Fueling investor anxiety and prompting a crucial examination of the tariffs' impact on consumers and the broader economy. Warren Buffett has weighed in on this topic, describing tariffs as a form of economic warfare.
I mean, tariffs are actually, we've had a lot of experience with them. They're an act of war to some degree.
Let's dive into what tariffs really are. At their core, tariffs are taxes placed on imported goods. They're meant to make foreign products more expensive. This way, local products have a better chance in the market. When a company brings goods into the country, they pay these tariffs. The cost doesn't just vanish, it usually gets passed down to you, the consumer. So if a car costs $50,000 and there's a 25% tariff, that's an extra $12,500 right off the bat. It's a big deal. These tariffs can change the way we shop. They can drive up prices on everyday items, making it harder for families to budget. The aim is to protect American jobs and industries. But the reality can be quite different. The impact may not be what everyone hopes for. Immediate market reactions. The market reacted sharply to the news of these tariffs. The Dow Jones took a significant hit, dropping 649 points. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq followed suit with declines of 1.75% and 2.6% respectively. Investors are clearly worried. The uncertainty surrounding trade relationships is palpable. When tariffs are announced, it creates a ripple effect. Companies start to rethink their strategies. They may delay investments or cut back on hiring. This hesitation can lead to a slowdown in economic growth. The immediate fallout is alarming. It shows just how interconnected the economy is. A single policy can shake the foundations of the market. The details of the tariffs. Now let's get into the specifics. The tariffs announced are hefty: 25% on goods from Canada and Mexico, and 10% on Chinese imports. This aggressive approach is designed to make foreign goods less appealing. The idea is that by making imports more expensive, American-made products become more attractive. However, there's a catch. While the government collects revenue from these tariffs, the burden often falls on consumers. Higher prices are just around the corner. It's not just about the cost of imported goods. The entire supply chain feels the pressure. When companies face higher costs, they often pass those costs on to you. This can lead to soaring prices on everything from groceries to electronics. The administration's perspective. The administration has a clear stance on these tariffs. They argue that they protect American jobs and industries. They see it as a way to push companies to manufacture more within the U.S. The hope is that this will stimulate job growth. But the reality is more complicated. Many experts warn that these tariffs may lead to job losses in sectors reliant on imported goods. When companies face increased costs, their first instinct is to cut expenses. This could mean layoffs or reduced hiring. The administration's optimism may not match the reality on the ground. Potential economic fallout. The potential fallout from these tariffs is substantial. Economists predict that average households could see costs rise by around $2,000 each year. That's a significant hit for many families. With rising prices on daily essentials, budgets will feel the strain. Moreover, the automotive industry is in a precarious position. Experts estimate that the price of a new car could increase by about $3,000. This is a big deal for anyone looking to buy a vehicle. The cost of living is already a concern, and these tariffs could make things worse. Inflation is already on many people's minds. With these new tariffs, the pressure is only going to increase. The combination of higher prices and stagnant wages could spell trouble for many households. It's a tricky situation that could have long-lasting effects on the economy. Warren Buffett's take on tariffs. Warren Buffett has weighed in on the topic of tariffs. He's described them as a form of economic warfare. His perspective is rooted in decades of experience. He understands that tariffs disrupt established trade relationships. They act like a tax on imported goods, increasing costs for consumers. Buffett reminds us that the costs associated with tariffs don't just disappear. They get passed down to everyday people. In his view, it's essential to consider the long-term effects of these policies. The question is always, and then what? When evaluating tariffs, it's crucial to think about who ultimately bears the financial burden. It's not just about protecting jobs, it's also about understanding the broader economic implications. The fallout can be significant, affecting everything from consumer prices to international relations. If you are enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more great content. Understanding how tariffs work. Let's break down how tariffs actually function. When a tariff is imposed, it's like a tax on goods coming into the country. This tax is designed to make imported products more expensive than local ones. So, if a company wants to bring in a car that costs $50,000, they'll have to pay a 25% tariff. That adds $12,500 to the price right off the bat. The goal here is simple. By making foreign goods pricier, the hope is that consumers will turn to domestic products instead. It sounds straightforward, but the reality is a bit more complicated. While the government collects this money, it's often you, the consumer, who ends up footing the bill. Higher prices mean you pay more for everything from cars to clothes. Critiques of tariffs. Critics of tariffs have a lot to say. They argue that these taxes can hurt more than help. Many economists suggest that tariffs disrupt trade relationships. They can lead to retaliation from other countries, which only escalates tensions and prices. There's also the concern over job losses. While the administration says these tariffs protect American jobs, the truth is that industries relying on imported materials could suffer. When companies face higher costs, they may cut back on hiring or even lay off workers. So the supposed protection can backfire. Economic implications for consumers. The economic implications of these tariffs are significant for everyday consumers. As prices rise, families will feel the pressure on their budgets. It's not just about big-ticket items either. Everything from groceries to electronics could see price hikes. Imagine going to the store and finding that the cereal you usually buy now costs more. That's the reality many families could face. Estimates suggest that households might see annual costs increase by about $2,000. That's a heavy burden, especially for those already struggling to make ends meet. Retaliation from Canada and Mexico. Canada and Mexico aren't just sitting back. They've promised to retaliate against these tariffs. This could lead to a back-and-forth cycle of tariffs that complicates trade even more. It's a dangerous game. With both countries as major trading partners, the stakes are high. Retaliation could hit American exports hard. Everything from agricultural products to manufactured goods could be affected. This could mean fewer sales for U.S. companies and increased prices for consumers. The potential for a trade war looms large, and it's a situation that no one wants to see unfold. Long-term economic effects. Looking further down the road, the long-term effects of these tariffs could be troubling. While the administration believes they'll protect jobs, research shows the opposite may happen. Previous tariffs haven't significantly boosted employment in the affected sectors. Instead, companies might face higher production costs. This could lead them to cut jobs or reduce hours. The net effect could be a loss of jobs rather than the creation of new ones. It raises serious questions about the overall effectiveness of this approach. As we wrap this up, it's clear that the implications of these tariffs are far-reaching. While they're intended to protect American industry, the reality is complex. Higher prices, potential job losses, and retaliation from other countries are all on the table. In the coming months, it'll be crucial to keep an eye on how this unfolds. The impact on the economy, consumer behavior, and international relations will be significant. If you're concerned about your financial security and are thinking about investing, check out the first link in the description. It's the platform I use, Interactive Brokers. Click the link to learn more. Want to learn more about investing? Regular tips, tricks, and insights?